Hey everybody, good morning to you, wherever you're joining in from. Just before I went live here, I noticed a little, I don't know, somehow I scratched myself or something. So I'm bleeding, so I've got some oils on here and need to really wipe my hand off. But, hey, can you hand me an Omni-Wipe to wipe my hand? No. So, hey everybody, it's Free Friday, and this is Good Friday, but Sunday's coming, okay? So now, yes, I'm in the truck today, but don't worry, I'm not driving. But I wanted to make sure I've got the MiFi. Yeah, okay. So welcome to all of you who are watching on the replay. You're going to want to stick around because this is a topic that we all need to understand more fully in order to live a life a little bit more freely and more abundantly today. So, and it's a topic that is near and dear to my heart. And so we are going to honor Autism Awareness Month. This is April Autism Awareness Month. And so I want to welcome you because this is a topic that I think you're going to find, even if you feel like you know a lot about this topic today, I hope that you'll walk away with at least one nugget that you can take and hold on to and eat and share it with someone else. So my name is Amy Miller, Crunchy Mom, researcher of all things natural for a little over a decade. And together with my husband, we're the founders of 3 Life Essentials, advocating wellness in all areas of our lives, in our spiritual, in our healthcare, and in our lifestyle. I'm also a speech language pathologist. I practiced for a little over 10 years. So giving me a little unique, very unique perspective on today's topic. I provided therapy and assessment and therapy for 10 years with adults and children on the autism spectrum. And so this is our topic today. And so I want you to stay tuned in because I think you might be surprised even if you feel like this topic isn't for you, because there's a reason why there needs to be more awareness. There's a full month dedicated to promoting awareness about autism. And so today we're going to talk about 12 facts about autism. We're going to talk about 3 things that parents of kids on the autism spectrum want you to know. We're going to talk about 7 tools that can help and share a few testimonials with you and some resources. So today we're going to continue to be free from toxins, free from ignorance, free to be different, free to have more options, free to have compassion, and free to have hope today. So, hey, Buford, good to see you on here. Hi, Betty, good to see you here as well. Hey, Kim, I'm hoping that Brandy is able to check this out. So now I have 2 gifts for those of you who are joining in with us at the beginning. And already right now, actually, before I give these gifts away, I want you to click the share if you or someone you know has a family member with someone on the autism spectrum, or you know someone who does, or someone who suspects that. I want you to click the share button with them so that they can experience a more full and free life in 2019 too. Okay, so the first gift I have that I want to share with you is this really cool pellet-filled little bean bag. Here, I want to show it to you. It is a fidget bag, but it has, so it's kind of like this fidget bag, and it has these little felt tabs on each side. And this is really beneficial for really anybody, especially beneficial for those who are on the autism spectrum, but really anybody who sometimes needs something when they're supposed to be sitting still, or needs to be moving their hands to be able to stay calm and stay focused. And I love the tabs because you can add your own essential oils to the tabs. So, so I'm going to be giving this away to someone today. And here's how you can be entered to win this aromatherapy fidget bag. So every comment that you make today will put you in an entry for this. If you share this with someone today, like I ask you to share, click the share button. If you've shared it today, put in the comments shared after you share it. And apparently we're just making the rounds, pulling our house today.
I'm just going to park
around the parking lot.
So that
I'm not really sure what we're doing around here. I'm not driving though. This guy is.
just park it so that we don't get on the highway.
So that's what I'm going to give away today. But each comment will get you an entry, as well as if you share this as well, it will also give you an entry. And we will tomorrow I will pick a winner from those who've made comments to receive this cool aromatherapy fidget bag. And I think this comes from, if I remember correctly, oh yes, this comes from Jody Hoffman's Oil My Goodness website. She has these on her website, so thank you to them. And so also I want to share with you, those of you who are joining at the beginning, I have access to a recording of an amazing lineup of experts that really align with our mission. And I will share that recorded webinar with you if you like. So if you would like access to this, just put in the comments below, just type in the word experts and I'll know that you want that and I can share that with you. Okay. So I'm curious, how many of you who are on, whether you're on live or watching this on the recording, how many of you have a child on the autism spectrum, or you know someone that does? Just put in the comments below. Just put a 1 in the comments if you do have a child yourself on the autism spectrum, or you know someone who does. I'm going to tell you that some would call this an epidemic. I would say that I will tell you that when I was in graduate school for speech language pathology, we had a few days in our coursework that addressed kind of the definition of autism and a little bit about what it was like and some of the symptoms, and then a little bit in the treatment. But most everything I learned about autism, I learned out in the field in practice. Now, since that time, and that was in the late 90s, but since that time, there are now an entire course that's dedicated to autism and the autism spectrum disorders. So it has grown as much in an epidemic that we have gone from just a little bit of, a few hours, a few days dedicated to this topic to full courses that are dedicated to it. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to go through pretty quickly 12 facts about autism. And I'd love to hear which ones are surprising to you. Maybe you didn't know about them. So autism spectrum disorder now affects 1 in 59 children. Now, boys are actually nearly 5 times more likely than girls to be diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, and it generally appears before the age of 3. And so this is why it is such a need to talk about this. Here's number 2. Autism spectrum disorder is one of the fastest growing developmental disorders in the US. It is more common than childhood cancer, diabetes, AIDS combined. That's pretty mind-blowing. So this is why we're dedicating this time to share. And this is why it is so important for you to click that share button below and share this on your personal page. Share this with someone who needs this information, because it is fast growing. Okay. Now, number 3, here's another fact that you may or may not know. The earlier that autism spectrum disorder is diagnosed and treated, the better the outcomes. Early intervention and detection is key. The outcomes for children's lives are significantly improved with early diagnosis and treatment. So now, for those of you that maybe you suspect this in your own child, or you know someone who is suspected of maybe having autism spectrum disorder, and you would like a quick way to know if you should seek professional help, there is a great, just kind of a quick screening tool. It's one that I used to use frequently when I worked with the birth to 3-year-old population, because many of those families either had just recently received that diagnosis, or they were still wondering, they had suspicions. And so there's a wonderful little screening tool called MChat. And if you would like that screening tool, I'm going to post this link in the comments. And I don't want you to feel like you have to comment if you're unsure or hesitant about commenting, suspecting that. So I'm going to see, actually, let me see if I can even pull it up here somewhere. Oh, okay. So I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to put in the comments the link to just some early signs to be looking for, but then also the screening tool that can be helpful to know whether or not you need to talk to a professional about this. Okay. If it'll let me put it in here. Okay. Early signs and screening tool. Okay, so I'm putting that in there in the comments for you. And you know what? While we're talking, I'm going to share this as well. Oh, wait, whoops. I shared it to the wrong place. Here, let me share it. Maybe. Hi, Stacy. Good to see you on here as well. Trying to pull this up here. Oh, I don't want to share it on my page. I want to share it on my personal page, because I have a lot of friends who this is a topic of interest to them. Okay, so let's get on with the 4th fact about autism. So this is kind of along the lines of early intervention and early detection, but early behavior-based interventions have many positive effects on children with autism spectrum disorder, and but then sometimes some less noteworthy effects on other children. So early services really need to be based on individual children's needs and learning styles. So honestly, services for children with autism spectrum disorder really needs to be individualized. Well, actually, even adults with autism spectrum disorder, it needs to be carefully individualized. So if you do also suspect autism spectrum disorder and you want to make a referral, you can find an early intervention agency which works with children birth to age 3 in your area. I can give you the link to that information. So if you would like to know about early intervention in your state, you can just type in the comments early intervention, and I will, or just type in early and I will get you the contact information, and you can find your state and exactly how you can get help. I can give you a lot of information and personal experience and guidance with that because I worked in early intervention for many years. So so please feel free to reach out to me in a private message if you have some more questions or information as well with that. Okay, so fact number 5, autism spectrum disorder costs a family about $60,000 a year on average. And this is a disorder that can require lifelong care. So, but the cost can be reduced by up to 2/3 with early diagnosis and intervention. In fact, according to a recent study funded by Autism Speaks, the lifetime cost of autism averaged $1.4 to $2.4 million a year. So these families are, many families are shelling out a lot of money to be able to help their loved one with autism. So I'm going to share this one more place. Because I know a lot will be interested in this. So now number 6, individuals with autism spectrum disorder have communication deficits. So it's important to distinguish between spoken language and social communication deficits. And what that means is communication is not just verbally speaking and listening. Okay, communication involves so much more than that. It involves nonverbal communication. It involves our body language, our facial expressions, our intonation and inflection. It involves social communication with things like knowing when to interrupt or knowing how to join in with people that you want to have engage with in conversation, or how to change topics of conversation, all those kinds of things. It's more than just having the ability to say a word or not. And so so that's where I focused a lot of my research and efforts and assessment and intervention is on these communication deficits. Number 7 is comorbid medical communication conditions in autism spectrum disorder are common. So that means that many times those who have autism spectrum disorder may have other conditions as well, including allergies, asthma, epilepsy, digestive disorders, feeding disorders, sleeping disorders, sensory integration dysfunction, cognitive impairments, and other medical disorders. So many times they're not only faced with the challenges of autism, but also are also working towards having victory in other areas as well. And so now don't worry, this is not all doom and gloom, because we're going to talk about some ways, some tools and resources and ways that even if you yourself are not impacted by this specific disorder, that you can have compassion and help others who do. So number 8, up to a third of people with autism spectrum disorder also develop seizure disorders. The rate of seizures in people with autism spectrum disorder is actually 10 times higher than the general population. So, so seizures is actually another challenge that many experience. Number 9, there is no federal requirement for providing supportive services in adulthood. So this means that this leaves a lot of families navigating these types of services on their own. And this actually goes back to the importance of the other fact that I talked about earlier about early detection and early intervention is key, because one of the services that early intervention agencies provide is ways to navigate that. We talk to and help parents figure out ways to find supportive services in adulthood. So, so this is why if you have a child that is diagnosed early in life and is receiving those early intervention help from that agency, we can help navigate you when that child goes into adulthood. So number 10, many people with autism spectrum disorder are successfully living and working and contributing to the well-being of others in their local community. That means they're contributing citizens. And this is most likely to happen when appropriate services are being delivered through the child's educational years as they're growing and developing. And so that is a glimmer of hope, because I have worked with adults with autism spectrum disorder who are successfully living and working and contributing to the well-being of others, who are contributing members of society just like you and I are. Well, hopefully just like you and I are. And so I love that hopefully you are also contributing to society and trying to make a positive impact. Okay, so number 11, autism spectrum disorder is not degenerative. Individuals with autism spectrum disorder can continuously improve. They can continuously improve. So they're most likely to improve with individualized opportunities and supported inclusion. And then lastly, the last of the 12, and there's so many more facts that I could share with you about autism, but I'm trying to condense this really wide topic and breadth is that there's no one cause of autism. Some research suggests we know some potential causes, and it looks like there's no one cause. Some research suggests that autism often develops from a combination of genetic and non-genetic or environmental influences, chemicals, toxic exposures, and some of these influences appear to increase the risk. So in my studies, what I've seen to see is that there appears to be a genetic factor, maybe a genetic predisposition. And then if these other factors are applied as well, some of these environmental influences and things like that, toxins, if those are applied as well, they tend to increase the risk of a child developing autism. But it's important to keep in mind that increasing the risk is not exactly the same thing as cause. So, for example, some gene changes associated with autism can also be found in people that don't have autism. So, not everybody exposed to the same environmental risks will also develop autism. So there's still a lot of unknowns about the actual causes of autism. So I'm curious, comment below, any of those facts surprising to you? I would love to hear your thoughts and your feedback on some of those. Hi, Diane, good to see you on here. So let's talk about, I've heard from parents, many parents across the years, and I just want to share with you just 3 things. I'm sure there's so much more that parents would want you to know, but 3 things that a parent of a child or an adult with autism spectrum disorder would want you to know. And that is, number 1 is, once you've met someone with autism, you've met one person with autism. I'm going to say that again. So once you've met one individual with autism, you've actually only met one individual with autism. And what I mean by that is that each child with autism spectrum disorder is a unique individual. People with autism differ as much from one another as all people. And so children and adults with autism may speak or interact with others. They may have good eye contact. They may be verbal. They may be nonverbal. They may have very bright, average intelligence, or they may have cognitive deficits. And so it's called an autism spectrum because autism covers a wide scope of complex disorders in brain development. So parents want you to, if you think you've met someone with autism, you can't necessarily make the assumption that every other person you meet with autism is going to be just like that other person you met. So, so as with any kid, a child with autism should be treated as an individual with his or own set of abilities and preferences, likes and dislikes. Note number two that parents of that would want you to know is that my child may be nonverbal, but he or she has a lot to say. You know, we live in a very verbal society that's ill-equipped for those in our population that are nonverbal. But it's estimated that 1/3 of those on the autism spectrum are unable to speak, at least currently. That doesn't mean that they can't acquire the ability to speak. But still, it would be a mistake to assume that these people don't have ideas or opinions or other things to say. And so what many children and adults with autism have learned is some of them will learn sign language to use to communicate, or others will use devices, augmentative devices, similar to like on a tablet or on an app that they can use to be able to communicate and express those ideas. So, hi, Bethany. Good to see you here. Okay, so I know we're going long today, but this is a topic that we want to cover lots of stuff. Okay, so the number 3. And now, if you're just joining us, you're going to want to go back to the beginning to find out how you can get receive the awesome aromatherapy fidget bag that I showed at the beginning, and also how to get access to the recording of that amazing lineup of experts. Okay, so you're definitely going to want to go back to the beginning with all of that if you're just joining us live. Now, number 3 of the 3 things that parents of those with autism would want you to know is that we are incredibly lonely. Now, I personally do not have a child on the autism spectrum disorder, but I have collected this information from parents, and this is what they say, is that we're incredibly lonely. Now, for all the reasons that we've already listed, and if you're just joining us live and haven't heard the 12 facts about autism, you're going to want to go back and listen to those, because for all the reasons already listed, it's easy to see why the parent of a child on the autism spectrum has a lonely experience. Parents are with their children all the time. Many of them will be with them for the rest of their lives. And this makes joining a community of friends incredibly difficult. In fact, the divorce rates among parents of children on the autism spectrum disorder is especially high. And of course, that is the case with any kind of special need or challenge. But if you're the friend of a parent who has a child with autism, ask that parent if they're okay. Ask if they need something, or ask if you can help with anything. Showing them that they're not alone, as they may feel, it can go a long way in brightening their day. You know, these parents will also say, you know, we can't get a babysitter. We can't just get a babysitter, because generally when parents need a night away, they hire a babysitter, right? Sounds simple, but not if you're the parent of a child on the autism spectrum. Kids with autism have different behaviors than those of neurotypical children. And so for some parents, and those kids, if their parents leaving, that's not just annoying, it could be disturbing on an emotional level. It can make it very hard for them to settle down when a babysitter is running the house. So providing even a listening ear, or saying, you're doing a great job, Mom, or you're doing a great job, Dad, can go a long way. And this is another reason why, actually, a few years back, I helped to form a ministry for those with special needs at our church. And because I encountered so many families who said, we can't bring our kids to church. We can't come to church. And where of all places should you be welcome except in church? And so those three things. Once you've met someone with autism, you've only met one person with autism. And that person may be nonverbal, but he or she has a lot to say. And these parents are incredibly lonely. So just providing that listening ear and encouragement can go a long way in offering to help. Okay, so let's talk about 7 tools to help. And I'm going to try to go through these pretty quickly. Now, there are a ton of tools to help. I've given you some already with getting help and resources. I'm going to give you a few more before we go, but I want to give you some oily and supplemental tools that can help, okay? So the first one is DDR Prime. Now, this is a blend of, I think it's 9 oils. I'm trying to remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 9 oils, powerhouse of oils that are helpful in renewing cells, okay? So we're talking cellular level, the smallest part of matter in your body. Well, I guess atoms, but cells. This is helping with DNA. Okay, so frankincense, wild orange, lemongrass, thyme, summer savory, clove, niaouli, and litsea. This blend of essential oils can be very impactful for helping to support the cells for all people, but especially also those who have met challenges with their cells and their cellular function. So applying this up the spine and on the feet couple times every day, I have seen huge impact in many lives. And if you want, I don't think we'll have time to share some of the testimonials today. So if you want some of the testimonials, I want you to just type in testimony, and I will give you, I will send you some information on testimonials with regards to some of these oils. But DDR Prime is a must go to. Frankincense, the king of all oils. Now, frankincense is also in the DDR Prime blend of essential oils. And this frankincense is so impactful and also supportive to cells as well. And so I actually recommend using both of these. The next is actually a supplement called IQ Mega. Fish oils are key. Fish oils are key to really everyone. Everyone should be taking fish oils. My sons take these, especially my oldest, who has challenges sometimes with focus and attention. But omega-3s, which most of us are deficient in, are very supportive to neurological function, cognitive function, supportive to lots of other systems in your body, but especially those who may be having challenges with focus and attention and calming. So this is another one of my go-tos. So 1, 2, 3, number 4 in our 7 tools is this, another blend of essential oils called Serenity. This is a restful complex. You know, we talked about before that sometimes there is a challenge with sleep and just calming down with anxious feelings and adjustments with things. And I forgot to mention that this blend also helps with those transition times that are such a struggle sometimes. But this one also, the Serenity blend can be put in your diffuser and used aromatically during those times that are anxious or times when it's when there's a little bit more of a challenge of settling down. In fact, I'll pull in number 5 tool, which is Balance, a grounding blend that has some tree oils, very rooting and calming to the body. The 2 of these even together are even more supportive to just calming that central nervous system, calming down the body and allowing the body to rest. So even more so at night, can apply this to the feet, can put this in a roller bottle. I don't know where my roller bottle is. Oh, Ooh, uh-oh. Throwing them all over the place. Don't worry, if you're just joining, I'm not driving. In a roller bottle, just like this, combined with a carrier oil that allows it to absorb into the body and onto the feet. Okay, so I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the last 2. Let me make sure. Oh, I mentioned the aromatherapy fidget bag. I showed that to you guys earlier. If you're just joining live, go back to the beginning where I showed that. That's number 6. And then the last tool I'm going to show you is turmeric. Now, this is the newest in my arsenal of recommendations and tools for helping with this topic. And this is one that this is different from turmeric extract or turmeric powder. Okay. And we can go, I can share with you if you want more information about the differences, let me know and I'll get that to you. But this can be put in a roller bottle, just like this. If you're new to essential oils and you need some help with some of this information or you want some guidance, I'm happy to help you with that. You can comment below, or you can comment below with newbie and I can help you, or you can send me a private message and I can help you as well. But turmeric is actually, it's much better absorbed in the body than the powdered supplement. And it can accelerate the rate in which healthy stem cells are created. And so it can help create new pathways for learning. And so this one, you put about 30 drops in a roller bottle, fill it up with coconut oil, and apply to the brain stem, which would be the back of the neck here, a few times each day. And that will also be helpful and supportive. Okay, so before I go, I want to share 2 more websites with you that can be helpful. I love the website appliedbehavioralanalysis.com and autismspeaks.org. They have some great information. And then I want to share with you this quote by Rachel Barcelona. She's actually a 22-year-old model who also is on the autism spectrum. And she said this, the quote, this is such a great quote. She said, "Everyone has a mountain to climb, and autism has not been my mountain. It has been my opportunity to victory." I love that she shared that. And so next week, our topic is to be announced. And so I need your help. Here's where I need your help. Would you rather talk about the difference between turmeric essential oil and turmeric extract and powder, like we mentioned here? Or that's topic number 1. Number 2 is daily health habits that we do that make a lasting impact. So health habits that you can incorporate that will help you. Or number 3, essential oils in the classroom. So put in the comments below, turmeric, health habits, or classroom. Pick, comment below, and don't forget your comments actually enter you into potentially receiving the aromatherapy fidget bag that I'm giving away. Hey, Denise, good to see you here. Now, if you're just joining live, you're definitely going to want to go back to the beginning and hear the facts about autism and how to increase your chances of getting that aromatherapy fidget bag and getting that recording of the amazing lineup of experts that align with our mission. So I'm about to sign off here. If you are new to our free Fridays, you can join me again next Friday at this same time over on our 3 Life Essentials Facebook page, or you can check in on our YouTube channel and follow us there at 3 Life Essentials. And we upload all of this information more in much greater detail on our website at 3lifeessentials.com/resources. And that's where you can find our blog posts. Thank you guys for joining. We'll see you guys next week. Okay? Yes? All right. Bye, everybody.